Good morning, students. Today I'll be starting the next chapter, that is the fifth chapter of your NCERT book. It is organizing. After planning, we will study now the organizing function. So, in this chapter, we'll be doing meaning and concept of organizing, definitions of organizing, characteristics or the features of organizing, importance or significance of organizing, organizing process. Okay. So these things we will be doing in this chapter, and before starting let me tell you that the formal and informal organization, it has been deleted. Okay, so no need to go through that. So we'll be doing other things. So let's start with the organizing function. As you know, managerial function is not over with the designing of plans, policies and programs. Steps have to be taken, various steps have to be taken to design and establish relationship between personnel and activities. Okay, thus people in the enterprises are involved in directing their efforts towards realization of the objectives set by the top management, and the end result of such an organization is a structure which is suitable for the enterprise to carry on its activities in a systematic manner. So organization provides a framework where duties are identified, definite tasks are allotted to suitable persons, and interrelationships of personnel are made certain. So the joint effort made by different persons become more productive, effective and economical if a well-knit organization is provided by the management. So the purpose of establishing an organization thus is to enable its personnel to work more effectively as a unit. And no wonder organization serves as the backbone of management. So it's the very foundation of most of these steps of operating management. So now we'll be doing meaning and concept of organizing. The word organization itself originates from the word organism, which means a structure with its parts so integrated that their relation to each other is governed by their relation to the whole. You can also say that it means a system with the parts which work together, or a system with parts dependent upon each other. Thus, we can conclude that in an organization the two important ingredients are the parts and the relationship. The parts consist of human and the physical resources. Okay, and as for relationship, it includes one individual and another, an individual and his group. Then some of the definitions which were given, let me tell you one too. By McFarland, an identifiable group of people contributing their efforts towards the attainment of goal is called organization. Okay, and by Coons et al., organization is the structural relationship by which an enterprise is bound together and the framework within which individual effort is coordinated. Now, so what is organizing basically? It is a process of defining and grouping the activities and establishing authority relationship among the people. Then, let's see the steps in the process of organization. So, as you can see here, the first step is identification and division of work. So, it involves identifying and dividing the work that has to be done in accordance with the previously determined plans, the plans which you have made in the planning function. Now it's the duty to divide the work into various parts, and the work is divided into activities so that the duplication cannot be there. Okay, duplication can be avoided. For example, the various activities of a mobile set manufacturing company can be like this: purchase of raw material, purchase of manufactured parts, stocking of manufactured goods, research, advertisement, sales, accounting, all these. Okay, then the second step is departmentalization. Once the work has been divided into small activities, then those activities which are similar in nature are grouped together, and such sets facilitate specialization, and this process is only called as departmentalization. So we can make grouping on the basis of following: like purchase of raw material and manufactured parts are given to the purchase department, stocking of goods given to the production department, advertisements and sales can be given to marketing department. Understood? So this is how the departments have to be divided. And the most common ways of grouping the job and departmentalization are, first one is functional and the second one is divisional. Under functional departmentalization, jobs related to the common function are grouped together, whereas the divisional department means when organization is producing more than one type of product, then they prefer divisional departmentalization. Then the third step is assignment of duties. It is very much necessary to allocate work to various employees, and once the departments have been formed, each of them is placed under the charge of an individual, and jobs are then allocated to the members of each department in accordance to their skills, competencies, etc. And it is very essential for the effective performance that a proper match is made between the nature of a job and the ability of the individual. So this is how the duties are assigned. Then the fourth step is establishing reporting relationship. When two or more than two persons work for the attainment of common goals, their interrelationship must be defined very clearly. So everybody should know who is his superior and who is his subordinate. Let's take an example. The purchase manager will be the superior for all the employees of that department, purchase department, and they will receive the orders from him and will be responsible to him only. On the other hand, the purchase manager will get orders from the general manager and will be responsible to him. So this is defining the interrelationship clearly. Got it? So these are some of these steps in the process of organization, that is identification and division of work, departmentalization, assignment of duties, establishing reporting relationship. Then let's come to importance of organizing. The first of the importance is benefits of specialization. Organizing leads to systematic allocation of jobs amongst the workforce, which reduces the workload as well as enhances the productivity because of the specific workers doing a specific job on a regular basis. And because of this, repetitive performance of a particular job or work time and again in that area will lead to specialization. Then second one is clarity in working relationship. The establishment of working relationship clarifies lines of the communication and specifies who is to report to whom. So this will remove ambiguity in transfer of information as well as the instructions. Okay. Then the third one is optimum utilization of resources. Under the process organizing, the entire work is divided into the small parts and the different employees performing different jobs. By doing so, what happens that there is no possibility of any activity being left out or any possibility of unnecessary duplication of any of the work. So consequently, there is an optimum utilization of the resource. Then the next one is adaptation to change. The process of organizing allows a business enterprise to accommodate changes in the business environment and allows the organization structure to suitably modify and revise the interrelationship among the various managers. It will provide much needed stability to the enterprise as it can continue to survive and grow in spite of various changes. Understood? Then the fifth one is effective administration. Organizing, as it provides a clear-cut description of jobs and the duties, this will help to avoid any kind of the confusion and the duplication of work. So clarity in working relationship, it will enable the proper execution of the work, and management thereby becomes easy and becomes or brings effectiveness in the administration. And the sixth one is development of personnel. Organizing stimulates creativity amongst the managers, and effective delegation allows them to reduce their workload by assigning routine jobs to the subordinates. And the reduction in the workload by delegation is not just essential because of limited capacity of individual, but also allows the manager to develop the new technology and the different ways of performing tasks. So it gives them the time to explore areas for growth and the opportunity in that particular field. And the last importance is expansion and growth. So the process of organizing, it allows the employees the freedom to take decisions which will help them to grow, and they are always ready to face the new challenges. So this situation will help in the development of the enterprise as well, and will also lead to increase the earning capacity of the enterprise, which in turn can help it in its development. So these are some of the importance. Now let's see the organization structure. Organization structure, it is the established pattern of the relationship among the various parts of the enterprise, which states the relation among the various positions and the activities, as you can see here. So as I told you, you have to remove two things, that is formal and informal. You don't have to see the formal and informal organizations. So we'll be skipping that part and directly we'll be going towards the functional and divisional one. Here you can see few important topic. Span of management. Span of management means how many person will work under a single head. That means number of subordinates that can effectively be managed by the superior. So that is organization structure. Understood? So this organization structure is divided into two. Let's talk about it. The type of structure adopted by an organization will vary with the nature and the types of activities performed by it. So it is basically classified into two categories, that is functional and divisional structure. See, functional and divisional structure. Let's see the first one, functional structure. In a functional structure, activities are grouped and departments are created on the basis of specified functions to be performed, and the activities related to a function are grouped in a single unit with a view to give a well-defined direction to the whole group. Okay, for example, an industrial enterprise, the major functions like production, finance, marketing, personnel, it may be grouped into different departments. Okay, as you can see here. Then let's talk about some of the merits and demerits of it. If we talk about functional structure merits, then it's easier to organize the department based on functions and sub-functions. It allows giving balanced weightage to the basic functions. It introduced specialization leading to the higher productivity, which will ensure that there is an increase in profit. Then utilization of the personnel, cost reduction, facilitates better coordination of activities and help in training of specialist managers. So these are some of the advantages of functionals. Okay, let's talk about the demerits. Demerits, each department concentrates on a narrow range of activities relating to its function, then less important to organizational structure. Okay, then it may be difficult to achieve the coordination in between the departments because of their different orientations. Then decisions are delayed. Decision may take time as it involves two or more departments. Then excessive specialization may destroy teamwork. Then functional specialization can restrict the development of generalists or the managers. And it may prove unsatisfactory in handling diversified product lines or specialized projects. Then suitability of functional structure. It is most suitable when the size of the organization is large. Okay. And it has a diversified activities and the operations to be performed with a high degree of specialization. So this functional organization is suitable under the following situations. First, where the size of the business unit is large. Second, where specialization is required. Then where decentralization of authority is required, and when there is only one product that is sold. Now let's come to divisional structure. If we talk about divisional structure, it is formed by creating a set of autonomous units or divisions which are coordinated by the central headquarters. For example, a company may have 3 divisions to manage its textiles, cement and chemical divisions. So coordinate their functioning. Certain essential services such as corporate planning, finance, research are organized at the headquarters as shown. Understood? See, None. Now see the advantages, some of its merits. It gives sufficient autonomy of freedom of action, helps to concentrate on each product, ensures a steady growth, ensures maximum use of skills, easier to assess the profitability. Then each division can make use of centralized services and run as independent unit. So these were some of the advantages of divisional structure. If we talk about demerits, what are its some disadvantages? In the situation, there may not be full utilization of different equipments. The first disadvantage is that in some of the situation there may not be full utilization of different equipments. Then there is duplication also. There may be problems in controlling the various divisions. There are higher cost of management. Then divisional structure, it is not suitable for small and medium sized companies, and it is complicated. So let's see the suitability of divisional structure. Where is it suitable? So divisional structure is suitable for the firms having several products, and each product has its distinct features. And it is also suitable for the firms having coverage of wide geographical area or having different market segments. So creation of autonomous divisions on product or geographical basis makes available most of the benefits of functional organization. So where is it suitable? First is where the number of main product is more. Then second, where the size of the concern is large. And the third, different manufacturing technologies and marketing strategies are required. So this is where we'll end now. So this is let's see before completing or ending it, let's see the comparison also. Formation, how is it formed? On the basis of work. Functional one, it is based or formed on the basis of work. Divisional, it is formed on the basis of product. Then the second one, specialization. Functional structure, specialization of job is required. Divisional, specialization of product is required. Then responsibility, it is difficult to fix the responsibility in functional, whereas easy in divisional. Then managerial development, difficult in functional, easy in divisional. Then cost, since there are no duplication of jobs, so cost is less, and in divisional there is a duplication of jobs, so cost is high. Then coordination, all departmental heads work as per the discretion, so it becomes difficult to establish coordination in functional, whereas in divisional coordination is easy because all the functions related to a particular product are integrated in one department.